Hey guys, I have a bit of a tutorial for you today. So I have a piece of heavy white cardstock and a piece of thin crapstock. I have these two adorable acrylic pieces and an Allie Edwards story kit that we're going to use. For stamping today, I have a Feed Your Craft set and a set from Kelly Stamps. And I have two shades of aqua ink, or it's kind of like tealy. One's Galactic Stream and one is Teal Coast. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to teach you how to create a frame of stamping around the outside edge of your page. There's a couple ways you can do this. So this goes along with my challenge this month in the Secret Not Secret Kit Cubs Scrap Party. But I'm sharing it with all of my YouTube subscribers, which, you know, that's totally cool. So I'm going to show you how to create this stamped frame. And yeah, I hope that you like it. A lot of this is going to be the tutorial. The page itself is going to come together super duper quick. So I'm just taking off the branding strip and I'm going to set that aside. This is a Coconut Swirl 12x12 cardstock. I kept some of this video in real time, so this particular part is in real time. So what I want to do is I want a 1-inch stamped frame around the outside edge of my layout. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this kind of thin, icky cardstock that I would never use on the layout. It's probably ancient and old. I'm cutting it down to 11 by 11, and we are going to use this almost like a mask. It's going to preserve the inside of our white cardstock background so that the inside of our white cardstock background stays nice and white. So there are lots of ways that you can do this. You can do this without a mat, without this mask if you want. That's totally fine. The way that I'm going to show you today is like the most time-intensive way to do it, but there are multiple ways to do it that don't require as much time and effort. And I'll go ahead and talk about alternative ways for doing this as I work along. I'm going to use my Misty, but I'm not going to use it for what it is intended for. I'm going to use it to help me to keep my paper straight, to keep my paper from not sliding all over the place. And I'm going to start by adding some washi tape to the back of the smaller square. So I have my 12x12 Misty, my ginormous one. I'm adding some washi tape to the back. This washi tape is not sticky washi tape. You want that washi tape that wants to kind of peel up. You don't want it to damage. We don't want to damage your page. A great washi tape for this, truth be told, is American Crafts, because kind of just like with everything, just like Thickers and all the other things American Crafts make, their washi tape not super sticky, but perfect for something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and kind of cock my paper down so you can see I want to start working on that bit across the top. And now we're going to speed it up and I'm just going to stamp. I am using acrylic blocks to do my stamping. It's just to make it a little bit easier. I'm alternating between the two colors of ink, the Gulfstream and the Teal Coast. Those ink colors are from Altenew. I am lining them up. I am stamping with an acrylic block because these stamps are really small. Putting them on the door of my Misty, I don't need to. I just don't need to. They are small, they ink up nice. I don't need to double stamp them. They're not any kind of big, large stamp. So let's talk about some alternates. I'm gonna leave a little bit of this process in so I can talk with you about other things we can do. If you don't wanna be fastidious and stamp all these teeny tiny little stamps around the outside of your scrapbook page, first of all, I totally hear you. If I had another stamp set that was larger that I could have done like a background stamp around the edge, but still gotten what the look I wanted, I totally would have done it. But I really didn't, and I just decided to go for it. These were the stamps I wanted to use. They worked the best with the subject of my layout. So I'm just going for it. If you have a background stamp, you could literally do this in 4 stamps. So if you have a 6x6 background stamp, and you can put it into the top corner, top right corner, top left corner, bottom left corner, bottom right corner, pull off the mask, and you're done. Just, there are way easier ways to do what I am doing. There really are. I just went for the hardest way possible for this layout. Okay, so if you're going to do it, if you want to do this with some typography stamps or small stamps, here are a couple of tips. Tip number 1, work from your masked part out and try not to overlap that inner piece too much. It's going to happen to some extent, and you'll see as I go down through the stamping, but you want to kind of make it doesn't matter if you cut off the half of a word. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. You're making something that has that typography look, right? So it's going to look graphic, and there'll be enough of the stamps that are readable that people will figure out what the rest says. And plus the inside of my layout definitely gives you an idea of what we're dealing with, what the subject matter is of my layout. The next thing I want to do is address the corner. Okay, so I'm looking through my stamps, and I'm kind of practicing. I'm kind of looking at what I have there. And I decide that for the corner, the best thing I can do is put an icon or something up there that will fit easily in the corner. Because remember, once we start going down the side, we have to change our typography. We don't want upside down words, right? We want everything to look like it is a pattern that goes around the edge of the page, almost as though you had a full 12 by 12 sheet of paper that had all this typography on it, and you put a piece of white cardstock down over it, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this circle stamp that has some popcorn on it, and there are a couple of stamps that are icon stamps, and so I'm going to try to keep those icon stamps in the corners, and that's going to help to give my frame a really good flow. So you get the idea of what we're doing here, right? We've got our mask. We're now going to work our way down the side of the page, and we're just going to make sure that our stamping is in the same line as the top, so that nothing looks upside down. And I cut a lot of this out because, as you can see, it's mostly my head. So I'm just working my way all the way around this framed piece, and you can see that inside piece of cardstock is doing an amazing job. So when the stamp I have is too long, it's going over that middle portion. I smudged ink on the inside of that. This is if you do it like this with all these teeny tiny stamps, this is, number 1, a labor of love. Number 2, it is definitely 100% messy. You are going to get so messy. At some point during this, I show you my hands. They were pretty much stained teal. In fact, they still are. So this is dye ink, and I don't want it to smudge. I want some of it to dry just a little bit because I'm paranoid. I know I inked up those stamps really good, and I want the inside of that page to be crisp and clean and white. So I'm going to give this a couple of minutes. I'm going to clean all my stamps. You can see them off to the side there, all over to the ready to go. I'm going to clean my stamps. I'm going to wash my hands before I even attempt to pick up that inside sheet of paper. And look at my hands. See, I told you I stained them. They're pretty much teal now. I want to add another layer of something to this frame. I don't want it to be a crisp, clean frame. I want it to look a little more abstract and a little more messy. So I'm going to take some Dino Ackley. Never mind. The glossy accent stuff. Every time I use this, somebody comments and says you're saying her name wrong, and I cannot for the life of me say it right. So the gloss acrylic spray from Ranger is fabulous, and I'm going to splatter it all along the edge, and then with I'm going to take some Shimmer's Night Moves, and I'm going to splatter that around the edge. That's going to give me a little bit of contrast. So the white is lovely, but it just kind of is almost blending in, and then adding the black on top of it is going to really pop out some contrast too. And now for the big reveal. Look how nice that is. And then the inside is totally white and ready for whatever photos and embellishments you want to layer on top of it. Unless you want to add some detail. So I decided that I wanted just a little more something on my background, on my frame. So I'm going to grab my Lady Liberty Stone Drops from Nuvo, and I'm just going to add some little drops along the frame. And then I'm going to go ahead and then really we're done. We're really done. I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to show you very quickly how I put together the inside of the page. I didn't want to make this particular video super duper long, but I did want to give you a really good tutorial for how to create a stamped frame on a layout. And so now we can just add in all the elements into the middle. The products that I'm using here are some acrylic pieces from Color Cast Designs. And then the rest of the product is the Watch Story Kit from Ali Edwards. I was just able to snag a couple of story kits from her. She had a big sale, and I was super duper excited. I got a bunch that I had really wanted, and I can't handle another subscription in my life, so we're gonna do it this way. I like it when she posts them on flash sales because you can grab them as kind of like a one-off purchase. I am documenting all of the shows that I binged watched during April and May of this year while we were under a quarantine, or, when we were really under a stay-at-home order and, we couldn't leave and all that. So these are the shows I watched. I liked every one of them. I must just be good at picking shows. Or maybe it's just that I know exactly what kind of shows I really like. My favorite one was North and South, which is a BBC kind of like miniseries. Although, if you don't mind subtitles, Resistance, which was on PBS, is amazing. So good. But it is in French, and you do have to put the subtitles on, which didn't bother me in the least. So I'm just kind of putting in all of these photos, and then I'm not going to do a ton of embellishing. I'm just going to do a little bit. There's a ton of color in these pictures, right? So I don't want to add too much more color, but I wanted to keep to that bright, that teal color. So I chose the teal color because it is in some of the photos, and the Color Cast Design title is that real deep dark teal. And then I decided to add a pop of red, just a little pop of red, and then the neutrals from the kit. We are doing pop culture this week for stamping for scrapbookers. So be sure to head on over and check out Sandy's video and Caitlin's video. We have some Mary Poppins layouts. We've got some Disney going on. And then we have these are all the things I binge watched during our stay-at-home order. That's okay. I know that when you think about pop culture and scrapbooking, the first thing you kind of want to go for is Disney, which I totally get. But I wanted to do something a little bit off the beaten path a little bit. And I also wanted to show you how I'm documenting some of my larger quarantine stories that aren't going to, like I couldn't have put all 6 of these pictures into my COVID traveler's notebook. So, and this didn't require a lot of journaling, literally. This is what I watched. I have to do another layout about the books I read because I did read quite a bit. I've been reading quite a bit since the beginning of the year, actually. So, all right, that's going to complete this. Go on over, head on over, check out Caitlin and Sandy's and Christina's videos. And if you are part of the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, my challenge to you for this weekend scrap party is to go ahead and create a stamped frame. You can do it the super hard way like I did, or you can do it the super easy way. Just mask off the middle of your page and then stamp all around. All right, I'll talk to you all again very, very soon. Bye.